So earlier on today, I went and I collected something very special. This is my first time ever being in possession of something like this. Funnily enough, I've used one before and I haven't bought one. I wish I bought it. I wish this was mine forever. This, or what is inside this pouch, for any of you who know, this is a pouch that you receive when you buy a lens of great size and magnitude. But this, to be honest, is my dream lens. This is a 70-200 f2.8 G Master, as you can see by the little orange G there. This is an absolute beast, and I am so fucking excited to use it this week. What is good, everyone, and welcome back to yet another video. Today I'm going to be taking you guys out into my city, into London, and showing you the best way or the easiest way to absolutely nail your long exposures. In the most simple of terms, a long exposure involves using a long duration shutter speed to sharply capture the stationary elements of the images while blurring, smearing, or obstructing the moving elements, right? That is Wikipedia. I have just read that off Wikipedia because that is literally what a long exposure is. So the other night I went out into London with Andrea because I had quite a busy week and I wanted to sort of clear my head and just do some chill photography, do some long exposures, and just sort of chill out, not do anything too crazy. But I thought while I was out, I might as well teach you guys a thing or two about long exposures. So I'm going to set up the tripod. This is like a £20 tripod I got from Amazon. It's very small and light, which is why I bought it, especially for shoots like this. You are going to need a tripod to do this to like its maximum potential. You can do this completely rogue and like kind of use a railing and just sort of prompt it up on a railing, but I'm going to be a bit more professional and use a tripod. Anyway, set the tripod. Particularly, I like to use a wide lens. I'm going to be using the 14-24mm by Sigma. The reason why I want to use a wide lens is because I want to get the whole sort of cityscape, building, bridge, everything in the shot. Again, if you use something a little tighter, like a 50mm, you're not going to get as much in frame, but if you're in a particular location that requires you to use a 50mm, of course do so, but I'm going for like the widest possible focal length here. So I'm just going to have Andrea probably sit on this rail here. In terms of sort of what I'm looking for, I'd say a shot of a bus going past Andrea, because the lights on the bus, especially at night, are going to look really, really cool. Cars that are coming past aren't going to look as good as well because the bus is really tall, so I kind of want it to cover the whole subject, in this case you. And pretty much I'm going to try and angle this. Maybe I'm going to do a landscape because landscapes just look better in my opinion. I've been shooting landscapes a lot more recently. Obviously, depending on where you are or where you're doing this long exposure, set up the tripod to an angle that you sort of like. I'd say maybe get the angle first, like use your camera, look through the viewfinder, find what's sick, and then set up the tripod so you're not like moving it about and all that bollocks. What I like to do is shoot at quite a high f-stop, so you don't necessarily need a 2.8 or a 1.4 to do this. I'm going to shoot at f4 or f5, and I'm going to shoot at maybe a 4 or 5 second shutter speed. Obviously, the shorter you go, the less light you're going to be able to capture. So the longer you do it, I think the more light you're going to let in and the longer the light trails are going to be. So right now I'm going to be shooting at f4, 4 second shutter. We'll call it a 4 second shutter and ISO 80. And then Andrea is going to sit literally bang in the middle of this rail, and then hopefully we ain't going to be waiting here for another hour for a bus to come. 3, 2, 1. And boom. And just like that, boom!
Mate, what? That is so good.
Okay, so that was a 4 second exposure. Now I'm going to shoot it at maybe a 2 second. So I would recommend maybe putting your camera on like a 2 or 5 second timer when you take long exposures, because sometimes you can sort of knock the camera or knock the tripod ever so slightly. So you want your subject to be really nice and in focus. So I just recommend, you know, putting it on a timer, then letting it count down, and then it takes a long exposure. So you won't have any sort of motion blur in case you do knock the camera ever so slightly. 1, stay still like a statue. Oh no, it's just out. I think I moved it. Yeah, I think I moved the thing when I pressed it. I'm going to put it on a 2 second timer this time. That looks sick.
Yeah.
That looks very sick. 5 minutes, wrapped it up. You can literally do this as well with any camera. If your camera has shutter speed, f-stop and ISO and timer feature, you can do this. So that entire photo shoot took us about 15 minutes, I would say. From start to finish, set up, everything took us about 15 minutes, which isn't long at all. Obviously, you guys can be there for as long as you want, but we decided to be there for a short amount of time as possible, simply because I wanted to show you guys how quick, and just some raw footage about how quick it is to actually do these. Like, it doesn't take a long time whatsoever. As you saw from the video, I took one photo on a 2-second shutter and I took one photo on a 4-second shutter, right? So both of these images look pretty similar. The only difference is the light trail behind Andrea is a lot longer in the 4-second shutter than it is in the 2-second shutter. When editing these pictures, I kind of wanted to go for quite a cool tone, I would say. Obviously, because I live in London, and I've said this before, I actually have a preset already saved from this particular location from Tower Bridge. So by putting that preset on, it gave me a great base to start working with. Then I added a linear mask to the sky and to the ground, simply because it was giving off a sort of orangey warm glow no matter how much I turned the temperature down. But by doing that, I actually ended up affecting Tower Bridge, which I wanted to keep warm. So what I had to do was go into my brush tool and really carefully go over the Tower Bridge structure and sort of keep that completely separate to the sky. So it took me a while, but once I had that whole thing brushed in, I was then able to separate the structure of Tower Bridge from the sky and get that nice cool blue tone in the sky and not affect the rest of the image. And the benefits of using the linear mask, I was actually able to separate certain parts of the image and change the temperature, and then keep the temperature the same in other parts, so I kind of wasn't really affecting other parts of the image that I wanted to keep warmer or keep cooler. So once I'd finished editing my photo and I was happy with it, I then opened it into Photoshop and just cleaned up any distractions on the floor. If any people were in the way or there was anything on the floor you wanted to remove, I just used the spot healing tool and the content aware tool just to take out any distractions. And that is pretty much it for this tutorial. Hopefully this helped anyone out who's a bit confused on how to do long exposures or didn't really understand. Hopefully this helped. If you did like this video, please leave it a like rating, subscribe down below. If you are new, leave a comment, leave a like, do all of that good stuff. I'm also thinking in the next couple of weeks to start my first podcast style episode over on the channel, where I get YouTubers, photographers and all sorts of people on the channel. I think it would be a really cool like addition to the channel, and it could be something you guys could listen to on Spotify. I'm going to try and get them on Spotify, on iTunes and things like that. So hopefully that is coming up in the next few weeks. Again, don't forget to leave a like rating and subscribe if you are new, and I will see you all very soon next week. Take care. Peace.